Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm on leadchess.org and going to play a 15-2 game. Let's start out with knight f6. See what we get here. Alright, let's go with e6. And I guess we'll be going into Nimzo-Indian to make sure I don't allow e4 so easily. Okay, straight in for this, huh? That's what I signed up for. Prepared to give up my bishop for knight. And now what? I think I'm going to go for a d6 and e5 setup. Yeah, let's go straight in for this right now. Don't know that I want to castle kingside so quickly. There are cases where you could castle queenside if you can maybe be a bit more assured that it's secure there with some b6 c5 setup, anchoring a knight onto a5 to prevent an a5 pawn break by white. So clearly these are some of the things that's running through my mind right now to maybe hold off on committing my king position. I'm wondering about just e5 right now. This seems a bit early, I must say, queen c2. I guess they're just trying to get in e4 in one go. Sometimes it would take maybe a couple steps for white to get that advance in. But, okay, I guess that's what they're gunning for. It's the only reason I could see behind queen c2 right now. That said, I think I'm going to be playing e5 no matter what, regardless of the e-pawn, regardless of where it goes or if it's not going to move right away. So let's just get that in right now. Queen here. I think this is a fine home for the queen. Queen e7, c5. This is the first moment where they're actually thinking. Okay. So, to be a bit careful of bishop to g5 as well. Should I prevent bishop g5 or wait for bishop g5 and then give him a kick and another kick? I am making some serious weaknesses on the king side by doing that. Maybe it's worthwhile to prevent bishop g5 altogether. Other candidate moves include what exactly? Queen e7? And on bishop g5, maybe I could actually go about connecting my knights. h6, and when the bishop backs up, instead of playing g5, to alleviate this pin, I could do a knight f8 to g6. Yeah, this is really a move I want to steer clear of. So I'm looking for something flexible here. I think I like queen e7. Yeah, let's do queen e7. I think she knows her place right now. Yeah, let's see. I mean, I'm threatening to actually take and then take on e4. I'd really like to see d5 because that concedes. White gives up control of c5, and you can be sure this knight will jump in there soon. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the center close up like this. It's white who has the bishop pair. I won't be so quick to welcome an open position. I wonder if they're going to go for f3. Bishop d3 is probably good. I think my c-pawn wants to play up too. Yeah, I think he knows his place. go with c5 and put some more pressure on d4. Yeah, let's do that. Have some dark square control. Fits in well with this guy. One thing I have to be careful of is if I try knight c6 and they play d5, I can't play knight a5 because of queen a4 and my knight is picked off. So I may need to preface this knight c6 move with first b6. Also, with this knight e2 move, I have to be cautious of a knight landing in on f5. And who's going to be responsible for taking him out? This guy. As far as controlling f5 with the pawn, that's just too weakening to my dark squares. So I don't even want to touch this g-pawn. I was talking earlier about playing g5, not wanting to do that. Well, I don't even want to go one step forward. That said, I'm leaning towards b6, not touching my bishop at all. I basically want to keep him home just so that when the knight arrives on f5, I could take him out and only invest one move with this bishop. So I'm leaning towards b6 right now. Bishop g4, I mean, it's just pointless. f3. Bishop g4, f3, here, g4, they start coming at me. Let's go with b6. It's a bit airy over here, these light squares, but, you know, he's not going to bother me. It's the queen, if any, who could maybe try to take advantage of these squares, but I don't really see that happening. Queen a4, I have this. So now I think I'm ready for knight here. However, I wonder about first at least considering this capture. It's not really something I want to do, but I should at least consider it. This capture, and only then knight c6. To maybe play against these weaknesses on the c file. You know, making sure that my c-pawn isn't on c5. Or, yeah, just exchanging my c-pawn. I know by making this capture I'm undoubling white's pawns, but I'd have some idea in mind with, you know, a quick castles and then maybe throwing a rook on the c file, targeting c5, maybe bishop here. I'm not sure. If I play knight c6, d5, knight a5, I kind of, what to say? I mean, it's maybe a bit too closed. Like, where would my active plan be? It's kind of just in a strictly defensive posture, going in for that. And on the other hand, I don't want to open the position up so quickly for these bishops. To be careful of an f4 move. I mean, I can't stop that, so if it's going to hit, it's going to hit. I think I need to go with knight c6 right away. I don't think that this is a good idea. If I take, they take with the pawn, knight c6, d5. Well, I wouldn't mind seeing d5 there. And so maybe it is alright, actually. You know what, by keeping pressure on this guy, after it takes knight c6, this maneuver into f5, they can't do that so easily because of my pressure on d4. Maybe this is the correct approach, to take first, and then play knight c6. To be a bit careful of maybe something like this, but yeah, I'm gonna give this a shot. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a shot now. Now I'm opening up the position. This is a a bit risky, for sure, because I'm opening up the position and my king is still uncastled. I still need 2 moves. They only need 1 move. Sometimes just being back 1 move, development-wise, can be a cause for concern. So we'll see. I'd be happy to see this move. It gives up c5. I can't make as quick use of it. You know, when the knight is on b8, it would just take 2 moves to get there, but still, if d5, there's knight a5, b7, c5. I will get there. So, I maintain pressure on d4 to keep my eyes peeled. I mean, things can open up maybe with c5. I don't know. I'm not so sure. Well, maybe. That might be an idea. No, I was thinking c5 takes, and then bishop e3. But for just that one moment, I'd have a pawn, my pawns c5 and e5 and good control over d4. I could jump right in there. Maybe not. There might be some tricks with capturing twice on d4 and then queen c6 with the fork. This unprotected rook might play a role in some variations. Queen dropping into c6. As mentioned, just being 1 move behind. Time-wise, king still uncastled. We'll see what white comes up with. This may be something. Given a move, I'm pretty much locked into castling on my next turn. Yeah, I'd certainly be looking into castling prior to declaring my light square bishop's intentions. I'm not sure where he belongs. If d5, I'm leaning more towards bishop a6, targeting c4. This is the move that I'm fearing most, c5. Reason being, it's looking to open up the position at a moment where white has a slight pull, time-wise. In the position, mind you, not the time on the clock. So, other moves? Maybe f4? If I'm taking here, I don't think I could really hang on to that pawn, bishop b2, and it's hunted down. This is the one pawn that I have in the center. I probably should hang on to him. Not be so quick to budge with my e5 pawn. If this square is overtaken, I think the center, black's whole position, would collapse. This pawn could move, maybe as a pawn sacrifice, and these pieces are unleashed. Yeah. If bishop g5, I think I will go in for h6 and g5. Just to, because otherwise, you know, f4 is hitting within this idea of capture and then taking on f6, doubling my f-pawns. Yeah, I think I would have to resolve this pin if bishop g5 is played. The h6 and g5. Clamping down on f4. We'll see. Interesting options for black. Bishop g5, knight f4. Queen here, I just play here. d5, I go knight a5. a4 with this idea in mind. I don't know, something tells me that that's a little bit slow. Maybe though. Might be an idea. I gave up some dark square control by making this capture. I've undoubled their pawns as well. So, let's see. What is white chewing on here? Knight g3 to f5? No. I'll take on d4 and hit the queen. Pawn moves are the scariest to me. Least scary is d5. Well, I guess h3 as well. Alright. Really coming at me full force here, huh? Alright. Alright, so I have to be careful because they're threatening to take, and after I recapture bishop g5, and I'm in that pin that I don't want to be in. So how do you deal with this? This seems way, way too slow. But is it important I do that? It is certainly weakening. Very, very weakening. Wait a second. Could I consider... maybe I could play it in a way where I allow doubled f-pawns? Here's maybe something I could consider. This point here is extra sensitive. And so I'm giving some strong consideration to bishop g4, taking the knight out and then landing here. Bishop g4 takes. Takes again, I could take with the knight. Well, I may end up with doubled f-pawns, but they're giving up their dark square bishop to do that. I would have a strong knight on e5. Also, if we take twice here on e5, maybe queen c5 would play a role at some point. Maybe I should view it like that as well. Their king is a little bit more exposed with that f-pawn advance. Let's give that a shot. Bishop g4. I'm trying to hop into d4. That's the primary function of this. Trying to put some indirect pressure on their center. Pressure on the knight, influencing the d4 square. And d5 now I'm taking here first. And then jumping in. Takes. Gotta recapture. This is too slow. If they're taking on e5, takes, bishop takes the knight, they take here and they're on my queen. Recapture. This is an unprotected piece. Queen a4, I think I have to come back here. I need to not only defend the knight, but break the pin if queen a4. So, as mentioned, if d5, this might be a resource. This would increase my control over d4. Yeah, very tense position. Very tense middle game right now. I like that this bishop is, at least for the moment, a tall pawn. He's not seeing any of the white squares on my side of the board. I like that my pawn kind of controls this knight. Okay. Well, this was my idea to take the knight. Let's do it. I need to get into that d4 square. And I think I should do that right now. Inserting a check isn't good. Let's jump right in. So, 2 knights versus 2 bishops. I have a good square for my knight, but I kind of feel like he will be undermined soon, but maybe not. Knight here is maybe a threat. Maybe they have to play queen here to stop me from getting rid of their dark square bishop. So be careful. Here's another thing. I could look to jump in here. And I'm even seeing a position where I could play this where I'm down a pawn, but still have a strong knight versus a not-so-good bishop. Yeah, I'm kind of liking my position. Not 100% on that, but yeah, I'm seeing that I could find good squares for my knights at least. So that's a bit comforting. This knight maneuver, knight d7 into c5, or if there is a capture here, maybe knight on e5. So if something like queen f2, knight here, rook moves, I take the bishop, and then I could think about knight d7 into c5. This should be strong. Okay, they're stopping knight b3. I think I want to stop bishop g5, so I'm looking to reposition my knight right now. Just under 5. If knight d7 right, well, I have to stop bishop g5. Knight d7, queen g4. I may even be able to, I don't know, play this position where I'm down the exchange. Knight d7, queen g4, kingside castle, bishop h6, g6, bishop takes rook, rook takes, and in the end, they're up the exchange, but I have two knights with, I believe, two pretty good squares as homes that I can rely upon. Well, I think I'd certainly need to sidestep this bishop g5 move, so let's go with this. I'm a little bit concerned of queen g4 right here, but I think their other move is bishop e3, which I'm not as worried about. I think I'll be okay with giving up a pawn. If they try bishop e3, take, and then retreat the bishop, and then takes here, that's what they're going for. However, maybe I should make it a bit more difficult. Wait a second. I should probably castle right now. Knight c5, bishop takes. There's pawn push, and I can't take because of rook e1. I gotta get off this file. I gotta get castled. Let's do it now. And can I make it a bit more difficult for white to track down this knight? Bishop back here, I could play knight c5. And bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, I have knight b3. This other knight could observe the b3 square with a fork possibility. Maybe they go with bishop e2. Basically saying I'm fine with it if you want to give up your knight for my light square bishop. Which case, maybe I just, again, play this position where I'm down a pawn, but I still have I'd have a strong knight versus the light square bishop. Try to show some compensation. I think there would be some compensation with my dark square control, especially over e5 after this capture, with maybe queen or knight. Rook on c8, he is backward. Wow. What do you got brewing over here, man? Huh. What's the story with that move? Queen h5, didn't consider that. Not quite sure what it's doing. Knight c5, I could hit the bishop. Seems like a good start. I'm on the bishop. There's no time for this in a push. Oh, maybe that's what they're lining up. Alright, let's start with this. There's no bishop takes, pawn takes, and pawn push, but that's what they're trying to do, to then target h7. I may have to play this, as weakening as it is to my dark squares. g6 and then f6. Yeah, I'll be playing f6 soon. I gotta take back some control of the dark squares. Yeah, let's go here. Also some lateral defense. Alright. Can I hold this? Did I miss an opportunity for a knight check? As soon as the queen dropped in here? Maybe f6 was too quick. Should I have played that? I don't know. They have some pretty easy moves coming up. The doubling of the rooks. Now the queen retreats and bishop h6 is a threat. I'm going to reposition this knight to d6. He could even return to f7 maybe at some point to control these two dark squares. Maybe something like that. Even if my g-pawns are doubled. I might have to do this. Taking and pushing I don't think is working. Tense game. This is the most natural. Pressure on f6. A knight on d6 throws some punches. A blockading square. He is a pass pawn. Good idea to keep him under control. I'd like to have some exchanges of the major pieces in this position. Queens off in particular. I have some concern about king's safety with still all these major pieces on board, so that would help me out. I'd really like to see them cash in. Bishop takes knight. And I'd much rather play this position with this exchange, me being down a pawn, and still this dark square control. But it seems like they're on top of that. I don't see them going in for that. They had a moment earlier where they could have gone for that. So if they're not going for it, if they weren't going for it then, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening now. I should have a way to defend here. Queen, knight, he's not playing. If he's going to play, you have to make this capture, but then he's not playing. Knight, queen, and rook are good defenders here, I believe. This is an alright structure. Queen g7 if needed. Alright, some more pressure against f6. Bishop here, maybe an idea. Do I have to play here? Maybe. I don't have much time. I gotta make a move. I'm weakening light squares, but I have some light square control with my knights. It's still a weakness. I'm setting myself up for maybe h4. But at least with g5, another thing, I don't have to worry about bishop h6. So on queen g4, maybe I go here. Maybe not, because of bishop takes, pawn takes, and then queen here. So now I'm thinking about, maybe dropping a pawn now. No. However, I could take here and be on their bishop. Bishop a2. If I move the knight, then there's this pawn push with the discovery. This is collapsing right here, isn't it? Gotta try something. I'm gonna go for this. Yeah, if bishop a2, I'm going to go here. They could take on f6 now. Get some trades in. I'm on their bishop at the end, so they still need to do something about that. I'm in checking distance. It's my knight. They have a minute advantage. Bishop A2, B5. Pretty much have to. I don't want to devote a piece to defending. Feel like I'm going to need my rooks on the F-file or something. Bishop takes knight. I have a new square for this guy. Ooh, they're going in for that. Knight here as well. I guess they're crashing through on F6. Here. Let's exchange first. I think that's best. And then Queen G6 and Rook F8. I have a passed pawn. If the queens are off, he could be a great force. I think I have to do that. And a quick Rook to F8. Wow. I don't know what to make of this. I'm just looking for one more piece to come off. Keep this dark square control. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. My knight is hit. Where's a good square? I guess here. Blockade. And I don't care about my H-pawn. I think I'm winning now. That's a strong move. Let's just push. Keep control. Push here. And let me actually keep pushing. I'm going to go here, Rook B8 and then B4. Need to activate my rook. I have F7 controlled if they do a push, trying for Rook F7. Let's try this. And keep pushing. Let's take. Push over here. Rook B2. King invasion. Let's just get in a check here. Secure my king position. Really tense game. Let's come over. Let's push. Cut the king off. Push again. Wow. Oh, I don't know, that wasn't right. Okay. Oh, I have that fork. I almost missed that. Still tense. Right here. Wow. I gotta go after their pawns. Whew, my goodness. Do not know what to make of this. Still very tense. Gotta keep my knight there. Gotta get my king up now. They have to watch out for some forks. My knight's gonna be trapped, isn't he? Yeah, I'm completely cut off here. Oh, yeah, he's just getting hunted down. Yeah, he's trapped. Oof. Yeah, I'm down on time here, but he's cooked. King here. Man, that was a really, really tense game. There must have been a lot of stuff missed in that ending. Okay, before I go over it with the computer, I'm interested with this position right around here. I think white had a better approach instead of getting to this ending. But I'm pretty sure I had something right around here. Maybe too quick to push that pawn. Could have also taken here. Gave a check. Yeah, I know I had something right around here. I know I did. Yeah, the computer will offer some good advice right around this point. They were stopping me from getting to the second rank. I really wanted to get there to attack the bishop and grab him. Yeah, I'm down a pawn here, but I have a really strong king position operating on these dark squares. And, I gave up that pawn, right? My d pawn. Should I have pushed here, I wonder? Cut the king off, and then they started running. I ran, went here. I could have even taken right now. Knight takes pawn. Because their bishop is, he's not really there to defend. Yeah. Could have grabbed here and then done something like this. I think at one point in the game I wanted to do this, but I was going to drop the knight. Pressure here. I have to be careful as well with the bishop on this square. They're threatening rook here. But I could just take right now. Rook takes, I take here, and then I queen. And the other thing... Well, if they do it the other way, I'm just pushing right away. Yeah, so this was a moment to track down their most dangerous pawn. I went in for the check. And yeah, I was basically floundering right around this point. Lucked out with this little fork, but it was still certainly tricky. This rook is doing a really good job of cutting my king off from approaching these pawns. I wonder if I still had something right around here. It's tough. Yeah, I went with the king move. Why would I go with the king move? I should go straight in for this right now. Knight here, here, takes. Yeah, I'm struggling to find a draw even in this one, but wow. Tense game. Let me go right to the beginning, throw the analysis on, and have a feel. Yeah, to be expected. A lot of ups and downs in this one. Plenty of opportunities for both of us. Alright, let's see where we could improve with this one. Nimzo. Let me put these arrows on. Okay, let's get to something a part in this game that's very critical. Okay, it's not that bad of an idea to go with this capture. This was my concern. Knight c6, here, here, and yeah, it's solid, but I don't know, lacking an active plan. It's a bit worrisome to me. Here, here. I don't know. It's another approach, but yeah, and I don't know about this h5 move, giving up this g4 or g5 square. But okay, I went with this capture. Knight c6, then f4, bishop g4. It likes this move right now, but I guess capturing's alright. I have a slight advantage, but I'm finding good squares for my knights. Getting castled. Pretty close game, I'd say, up until this point. Knight c5, bishop back. Knight b3. What's the idea with that? I guess just to make sure this bishop has no possibility of coming to life, because I maintain control over d4 with a piece. And bishop takes, I can recapture with the knight on b3, and not the pawn, which would allow its advance, and then the bishop to come to life. With g6. Too soon to make that weakness. Knight here, rook here. Rook c3, or rook c8, f6 even. Okay. Yeah, you know, yeah, I certainly like this idea now, because what ended up happening to my f-pawn? Well, I lost it by playing g6 and f6. I knew g6 was super weakening to my dark squares. And I did this in large part. I don't know if I voiced it during the game, but I did this in large part because of this idea of capturing and then pushing and having this diagonal open. And, you know, it's true that, okay, well, even if this diagonal does open up, I have a moment to then play g6. But my concern was that I lose control over these critical central dark squares. Yet my fear was that this push, let me just show you, like, I don't know, just making a dummy move. This was my fear. This move, opening this up, I could defend against this threat, but now I don't have this control over e5. It may be slipping. So that's why I wanted to kind of preempt this capture, push. But, you know, seeing it now, the suggestion of knight b3, knight c to b3, and I could follow up with f6 on some capture here. Now, it's wonderful for black. I like this knight. Clear play here. Meanwhile, you know, this doubling on the f-file isn't really throwing a punch at a pawn now. Yeah, didn't give any thought to knight b3. Well, I did earlier when pointing out this idea of landing a fork. If the queen, you know, if this capture occurs in the queen, I could get the exchange like that. But as far as just reinforcing it at this stage, I didn't consider knight b3. Doesn't really like this little maneuver. Wow, yeah. I don't know about that. Yeah, computer chess, huh? Queen takes a3. Greedy computer. Well, I grabbed the pawn. It wants to go with bishop to a2. Here, I'm just dropping f6, no? That's why I didn't play it. I thought this. Oh my goodness. They don't have rook f6. I could take and then play knight e2 if they take the queen back. They're getting mated. Rook takes, bishop back, take the bishop, mate. Ah, I didn't see that resource. I could have played queen g7 here instead of grabbing the pawn. Queen back, and then take. And I'm hanging on to my f-pawn. And my knights are looking quite annoying here. Oh, that would have been a nice tactical thing to see. That knight to e2 move. Rook takes f6 is a great blunder. Okay, so I took. And I thought I'd have to play b5, yeah. And they're still crashing through on f6. They have a pawn advantage. So I took. They took here. They're still with the plus. Not that great of an advantage. This might be one that the computer has to think about some more, too. I mean, I wonder how much weight it's really giving to these pawns here, who I believe I can keep under control. It's a strong piece. This is a passed pawn. They have two passed pawns, but they're under control. Well, at least the e-pawn. Check, king f6, and now it's equal. Get this guy rolling. What is it suggesting here? h3. Yeah, I was trying to, at this point, get my rook active, and that was my idea by pushing these pawns here to create some pawn break on the A or B file. I didn't look over towards the H and G file for that. So I guess this is good. Hitting the pawn and threatening to simply dislodge my king's position on the 6th rank. Push, they give check, and yeah, now I'm losing control for sure. My knight has to go elsewhere. Well, they didn't go for that. And now, okay, for just a moment, I'm slightly better. And now I am better. This was around the moment I thought I was, but making it happen was a different story. I felt that if I played b4, they'd play a4 and shut it down. Still crying out for this. If they take, I play over with the rook. But if they push, I guess he's now a target for a knight. g4, knight here, grab here. Tough ending. This is the only way that I saw in the game that I could force the opening up of the position with a4, rook to b8, and then b4. They anticipated that well. Rook a7, preparing to meet b4 with rook takes a4. We had exactly that. I take. And what am I doing? Why didn't I not go rook to b2 right here? Oh my goodness. I had my opportunity to play rook to b2, which is what I was wanting to do. Rook b2 right now. Right now, rook to b2. And they have to run in reverse. I have them boxed out with my knight and pawn. Tough move to wrap my head around. Knight here. Don't quite understand that. I'd probably take here. Well, it's still tricky, because he's not too long off from promoting, but yeah, I should have definitely got to that 2nd rank. Don't know what I was thinking there. Got in with my king. It still likes, I have something here, just pushing the pawn. Just trying my best to get in there. Banking a little bit of time right around this point. Yeah, I had my opportunities here. Didn't consider the push. Push here. Maybe even around this point I could think about pitching the pawn, but now I do get to this 2nd rank. Strong king position. Strong rook position. Strong knight. Plenty of chances in this one. A very tense one. One of the more intense ones I've played recently. Check. And when it gets to this point, yeah, it's still not winning, even though I'm up that piece. Yeah, because he's just not, he's kind of boxed out, and this move is really quick. So, tough to hold from here. But I guess it still is holdable. King over, right there. Maybe not. Knight here, didn't it just pop up mate in 17? Yeah. Mate in 17. Yeah, and there's nothing here. The rook is a fantastic piece. Boxes up my knight. Even calling out for rook here, and where's my knight going? Nowhere. King all the way up like this. Just like they were gunning for in the game, and my knight is picked up. Really tense game. I took some interesting things away from this one. I didn't appreciate this knight to b3 move right around here. Too quick to weaken. How to say it? Maybe I was a bit too quick to make this highly committal move, g6. And, you know, I saw it during the game as weakening these dark squares, but on top of that, it is also setting myself up for some serious f-file pressure. You know, sure enough, my f-pawn falls in this one, and, you know, that's another negative with this advance. It's not just the squares you're weakening, but this f-file pawn now, because I've weakened my f6 square. It's this f-pawn who's now going to turn out to be a great target for white. You know, this idea with securing d4 with a piece, and then solidifying my center with f6, and then looking for this move to put some pressure on their pawn. That would have been a much more solid approach, clearly. Okay, well, as usual, feel free to leave any feedback to this video in the comments section below. And as usual, I hope you got something out of it. That's all for now. Take care.